Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the February 3rd, 2015 meeting of the Board of Aldermen. I see we have Vic Platt in our audience. Would you please lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dick. Madam Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Alderman Anderson?
Present.
Alderman Beer?
Here.
Alderman Casey?
Here.
Alderman Fontana? Here. Alderman Gurman?
Here.
Alderman Giannatasio?
Here.
Alderman Goldman?
Alderman Goldman's going to be a little late, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Alderman Hardeman?
Here.
Alderman Kubik? Present. Alderman Shaw? Here. Alderman Smith is excused, correct?
Correct.
Alderman Stanford? Here. Alderman Beccarelli?
Here.
Alderman Vitro?
Here.
Alderman Vitale?
Here.
13 present, Mr. Chairman.
13 present. We have a quorum. The next portion of the meeting is devoted to public comment. Statements are limited to the legislative function of the Board of Aldermen. The time limit granted to each speaker shall be 3 minutes. Residents, taxpayers, and electors may address the board at this time. The board encourages speakers not to express derogatory, insensitive, or offensive statements, or to engage in personal attacks against individuals. In order to allow everyone an opportunity to speak, I ask that everyone please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Anyone wishing to address the board at this time?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, distinguished members of the Board of Aldermen. My name is Vincent Cerullo, and I reside at 45 Haystack Road here in Milford. Recently, we along Haystack Road in Cornfield have been subjected to a business that has created loud noises, dump trucks full of rocks, which have woken people up late at night during the course of the day. When I say late at night, I'm talking about 10, 11 o'clock in the evening, which disrupted all of our lives along Cornfield and Haystack and the entire neighborhood. This business actually cut rock within their building. The building that is they're housed in has open doors, so the noise just permeates from there, making it a very unlivable situation in the entire neighborhood. This was reported to the Planning and Zoning Office, and all they said was they could issue a cease and desist. That is the most that they could do. It was then handed over to the city attorney, who after a number of weeks said, well, we filed with the court, but that's all we could do at this point. When neighbors tried to follow up, the answer that they got was, we don't know what's going on. This came from both the Planning and Zoning Office as well as the City Attorney's Office. This went on for some 6 or more months. This business is located in a light industrial area, the kind of business that is illegal here. Not only that, but the building that it is housed in is illegal, along with the business itself. Some of you who might not know who I am, I served 8 years on planning and zoning, several of which I was the chairman. So we have an illegal business in an illegal building that doesn't allow, and for a lack of a better term, a business such as this. This is something that should not take 6 months. It should be handled ASAP by the city to protect its residents. This type of situation that we're in puts the city in itself in jeopardy because it knows about the illegalities that are there and that exist. The real tragedy is that the Planning and Zoning has absolutely no teeth to do anything about it other than issue a C&D. This is not only for a business such as this, okay, that has illegalities, but even trivial matters. All they could do is issue a C&D. When a C&D is issued, all it means in this city is that We have to hammer the nails in a lot more quickly, get done, and let's get out of here. The board, this P&Z board, needs teeth, whether it be in fines or police-type power to shut down businesses such as these, or in small cases where local construction is going on either without a permit or something is outside of the realm of what was presented to them. They need to be able to shut it down and get things corrected. Not allow other businesses and these illegalities to continue. I ask that you consider what I've said this evening here and give them the power that they need to get their job done and to stop this kind of craziness. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the Board of Aldermen. My name is Michelle Kramer. I live at 104 West River Street, and I am also president of Milford Preservation Trust. The trust put forth, as you might recall, in December, a proposal for a preservation ordinance, which I know was met with some skepticism, and there were some concerns voiced. We have attempted to have some subsequent meetings and also to send you some information, which I hope you have received, which we hope has allayed any concerns that you may have had. I realize that Mr. Smith is not here this evening, and that this ordinance is not up for a vote or anything this evening. But I did want to reiterate that Milford Preservation Trust believes strongly that this ordinance, at this particular junction, having just finished the 375th, we think that it's a very important and appropriate time for such an ordinance. And also, we didn't just sort of invent it out of the clear blue sky. Several other towns in Connecticut have enacted through enabling statutes similar ordinance, and not only that, it does go hand in glove with the Milford Plan of Conservation and Development, which was updated in 2002. And if I may read directly from the Plan of Conservation and Development, pages 71 and 72, it states that it should be a high priority to further Milford's preservation goals through the following policies. Number 1, where appropriate, create additional historic districts. Number 2, encourage owners of historically or architecturally significant properties outside the historic districts to create deed restrictions that guarantee the preservation of their properties. And please note, the verb is encourage, not coerce and not force. Encourage. That's our goal. Number 3, all grant opportunities for the preservation of historic properties should be pursued. And number 4, promote continuing education in support of Milford's historic heritage. And that is exactly what Milford Preservation Trust is attempting to do. And the ordinance itself really is you could almost see it as a public awareness tool and a means of educating the public, because it's totally, it's just up to the owner. We're trying to work with owners to get their properties listed. We're trying to expedite the process, and in the process to also educate the public about Milford's rich colonial heritage. So I would just like you to look over the information and consider it, and we hope to bring it up to you again. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Richard Platt at 132 Platt Lane, and I like this setup. No sound system, but I can hear everybody. It's great. Should be here more often. To follow up on what Ms. Kramer said, we will be coming to you next month with a proposed historic preservation ordinance. About 2 weeks ago, we did make a presentation to the Milford Historical Society. I don't think very many of you made it, but it started out where I did a slide presentation of my little, shall we say, a little scrapbook of Milford's lost buildings. I won't go through the whole bit right now, but just, buildings that we had here in Milford that are no longer with us. Buildings like the Weddington Hotel, which is where the downtown post office is now, and right across from the street, Dorina, which is now a store block, and on the corner of Dorina Place, etc. And you know what? I've got some more pictures in the back here that I've run out of pages. And that's not counting more recent lost houses, such as the Cadley Merwin House in 2007, the General Hawley House in 2013, and then just last October, the Elijah Bryan House. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to have to keep adding pages to this book. Please, you know, pretty soon, no more old houses. They'll be gone. Once they're gone, they are gone. So I just hope you will consider our request and act favorably. Thank you.
Hi, Bruce Nantel, 37 Haystack Road, Milford, Connecticut. Again, back to the stone cutting business that moved in back in June. My first attempts to talk with the people when they moved in, and I was told, well, we have rights, we can do what we want. So that's when I started with planning and zoning, working with them, and that took months before we could even find the building because it didn't exist. It wasn't on planning and zoning's books or anything. It was just built and put up. The police couldn't do anything about this noise, except go down there and tell them don't start till 8 o'clock in the morning. They start at 7 o'clock in the morning whenever they do what they want. Again, the dump trucks come at 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. Sounds like an earthquake back there, wakes everybody up. It went on for months and months, and I guess finally something got done, or these people just finished doing what they were doing and left. But something's got to be done when this type of business moves in and is completely illegal, and you know, it used to be shut down a lot quicker, or not just let them stay there until they want to leave. I was told they could stay there, it could be years as it goes through the whole court system to get them out. So I don't know what could be done, what else could be done about it, but something, as Vinny said, you know, about planning and zoning, they need some teeth or something to do this. So thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor, Honorable Board of Aldermen. I'm back again before you. Mostly just to echo what we said before. We continue to hope for your support to become partners in a new restaurant in the city of Milford.
We have your name
I'm
and your
sorry, Marty
address.
McCarthy. Marty McCarthy, owner of Fire Engine Pizza Company. I reside at 263 High Ridge Road, Fairfield, Connecticut.
Thank you.
Again, just hoping you'll get sick of me and just say yes. We really want to be here. Since we met last, I've had the opportunity to meet some of your residents who have taken the time to come down and see us at the restaurant. They seem to be very excited. We're very hopeful, and we just want to let you know we're still pulling and hoping that we can come and do business in the city of Milford. Thank you. Oh, and I have to thank Mr. Blake. Mayor Blake, he's been very helpful. Julie Nash, everyone in the city has been very helpful and kind of really assisted in walking us through the whole process. And whether it happens or not, it was a very good experience, and dealing with the city has been great. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the board at this time? Seeing none, Alderman Beccarelli. Agenda item number 3, consideration of minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the regular minutes of the Board of Aldermen meeting held January 5th, 2015.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me.
Yes, Madam
There
Secretary.
are a few advocations on that. Just noted for the record, Alderman Anderson wanted to ensure that the residential neighbors have a voice as plans are developed, and spoke to that issue. That was regarding the potential parking garage. He said the garage will impact their sightlines, quality of life, and potentially property values. He also addressed Mr. Giannatasio, who responded that they were all enthused about the prospects of the parking and that the Board of Aldermen would naturally listen to all residents in response to their concerns. He also pointed out that the residents of Dorena Place are in the 5th district and not the 1st district. And also, Alderman Beer never talked about the residents that needed to be removed, and he talked about revenue, legal requirements, and uses. So I'll just make those changes to the minutes.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Motion was made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. There was no special meeting. The chairman's report. I want to thank everyone and the residents of our great city for all the patience they had during our 2 large snow events. I think Public Works did a fantastic job under the leadership of Director Chris Saley. I know I'm out there every minute of the storm myself, so I can appreciate the work that these guys done. I know they put in a lot of hard hours, and I think the streets look great. Alderman Vecchiarelli. Agenda item number 6, Mayor's report and recommendations. Is there a report from the Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to echo your comments, the last 2 weeks have been almost exclusively focused on storm recovery, and plowing out, and shoveling out the 1,200 city streets in Milford, and our Public Works Department, our Highways Division, all the divisions that have been involved have really done a fantastic job making sure our streets are safe, making sure that our pathways to our schools will be ready to go tomorrow morning bright and early so that we will be back in session. But I know that we have a long meeting, so I respectfully request your action on those items on the agenda 8A through 8CC. It's a long one tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions that arise.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item number 7, there is no unfinished business. Moving on to new business, Alderman Vecchiarelli. Agenda item number 8A.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the appointment of John Wojanowski of 19 Aberdeen Way as a member of the Building Code of Appeals to fill the present vacancy, term expiring 12/31/18.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8B.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the appointment of Joan Caginello, 17 Westminster Court, as a member of the Board of Health to fill the present vacancy for a 2-year term expiring 12/31/15.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8C.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the appointment of Raymond Kremeyer, 26 Morris Lane, as an alternate to the member of the Harbor Management Commission to fill the present vacancy, term expiring 12/31/16.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8D.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the appointment of Joseph Federico, 14 Breckneck Lane, as a member of the Milford Government Access Television Committee to fill the present vacancy, term expiring 12/31/16.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. At this time, will all of our newly confirmed board and commission members come to the front of the auditorium to get sworn in by our city clerk.
to stay for a minute after you're sworn in to sign that you have been sworn in, okay? I need you to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that you will uphold your duties and responsibilities for your prospective boards for the city of Milford, so help you God, under the pain or penalty for perjury or false statement?
I do.
Okay. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Johnny Wojnowski.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you a lot.
Great, congratulations. Jonas, congratulations.
Yeah.
I've been practicing and everything.
You almost got it. Pretty close.
Right here. Thank you. Have a good night.
Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8E.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Board dated January 22nd, 2015, for the acceptance of the capital improvement plan for the years 2015, 2019, which is located in the back of this agenda.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8F.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding the South Central Regional Council of Governments Regionalization Performance Incentive Program.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. At this point, I will entertain a motion to reorder the agenda to move items 12A1 to 12A2 and 12A3, report of ordinance committee next on our agenda so that we can vote on the bonding ordinances. Is there a motion to reorder the agenda to move items 12A1, 12A2, and 12A3 up next on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
His motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Susan Shaw.
Thank you, Chairman Vitro. The Ordinance Committee met earlier in the evening to consider 3 ordinances and voted to forward them to the full Board of Aldermen for consideration. The first, and this is in the form of a motion, an ordinance appropriating $8,250,000 for the design and construction of sanitary sewers and authorizing the issuance of $8,250,000 in bonds of the city to make said appropriation and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just as brief background, all these projects have been on the capital improvement plan for some time. The Rock Street Pump Station and Welch's Point Pump Station are definitely in need of rehabilitation and reconstruction. Most importantly is the Rock Street Pump Station, which is critical at this point. Our sewer consultants, Ray Macaluso, as well as our public works directors here, if you have specific questions about the projects. Also, the Dorena Place sewer replacement project is replacing sewers that are over 50 years old. So these are all critical infrastructure improvements that I'm recommending to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Alderman Shaw.
Did you want to You have a motion?
Motion is made and seconded, and any more discussion? Alderman Kerman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, is Ray here to explain exactly what needs to get done over there at Rock Street? And there may be a little more clarification on the $6 million.
I'd be happy to.
Maybe a little background.
Yes. For the record, my name is Raymond A. Macaluso. I'm the owner of Westcott Mapes, and we're the consulting engineers to the Sewer Commission. The Rock Street Welch's Point pump station was on the original capital improvement plan with the $93 million bonding of the treatment plant and the pump stations and the infrastructure that go back 15 years. This particular project, Rock Street Welch's Point, is a combination. Rock Street, as the mayor said, is in dire need of repair. What would happen is that there are two pumps that serve that pump station, and there have been a lot of maintenance issues that have taken place over the years, and Mr. Cooper, the director of wastewater, has been trying to hold this together for some time. So it's at the point that if it fails, it will take the Seabreeze Avenue area down, basically, because it serves that whole area. The improvements would be all internal, all new pumps, a new generator. It'll some facade work outside, and but most of the work would be interior to bring the pump station up to date. It will add a third pump. Right now it has two pumps, and it'll add a third pump. Welch's Point Road, similar situation, that you have three pumps that are failing. This is, like I said, been on capital improvement. It was part of the facility plan that the board had approved 15 years ago, and now it's going out, as the mayor said.
Alderman Giannatasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, to Mr. Macaluso. Can you give us an indication of when this project would start and how long it would take to complete?
This project is 90% designed. It was designed by AECom. What would happen is that they would have to basically get the contract bids together. So I'm estimating that once the bids are together, it's put out, it's about 90 days before.
Just to follow up, so the design portion of it is more or less paid for?
Yes, 90%. The only thing that remains is the bidding, the construction documents, and then the construction administration oversight.
And if it was to fail, worst case scenario, would it have an environmental impact?
Very much so.
Can you elaborate on that?
Again, that area would be shut down pretty much, and then you'd have bypass pumping, I just don't even want to consider what could happen if the pumps fail. Similar to the West Avenue pump station that you had approved, that we redid in a similar situation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderman Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, how old are roughly how old are the existing pumps right now?
They've been, well, the existing pumps have been replaced many times, and they're, as I said, Mr. Cooper is just keeps replacing the pumps, the impellers, and all the mechanisms. It's not the actual pumps themselves. These pumps that would be designed, would be the state-of-the-art, and you have probably a 10 to 15 year life on them.
Alderman Beer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For you, Mr. Macaluso. These are pretty big numbers, and obviously everyone knows we need to upgrade our sewers, and oftentimes they get passed over rather quickly. But my question is, they are such large numbers for maintenance and construction. The city of Milford, we maintain our sewer lines and our pump stations, but we don't ever construct our own lines. And I guess my question is, do any cities do any of that? Or is it because it's a difficult job, or is it, are we unique in the way all our engineering and construction is outsourced?
Because of the engineering is a very specialized field, and it's the liability also, and the expertise. You can be an engineer, but there are many various engineers out there. As far as the numbers themselves, the rehabilitation of the pump station is all the mechanicals, the wet well. There's a lot of components, SCADA system that talks to the police department, fire department, all the components, all electrical. So that's why those numbers are very high. And again, most municipalities outsource everything from the professional engineering to the construction.
So we have the expertise in-house to maintain it and fix it, or because that, or
Maintain it.
Maintain it?
Yes, you have wastewater, that very good staff. You have 2 people that are Class 4 operators, which you need to run a treatment plant, and they have the expertise and the experience, but it's an upkeep, but it's the actual construction that is, very difficult.
So these obviously are all put out to bid to qualified contractors. They submit the bids through the sewer commission, and they're awarded to the sewer commission?
Yes, what happens, matter of fact, tomorrow night at the sewer commission meeting, we'll be putting out I'll be recommending the pre-qualified contractors for 2015. They're the only ones that could bid on the job, on the sewer projects. This is something we put in place, and I thank everybody here for a couple of instances that happened years ago. So now we have those pre-qualified contractors that have the bonding, have the experience, and the expertise. And then what we do is we put it out to bid, get the low bid, we have to take low bid, present it, I review the bids in my company, and then we present it to the sewer commission.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderman Gurman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I don't know if it's through Mr. Peter Arducci. How will this get paid back? Through what funds will this $8 million get paid back?
Once the money is, long-term debt is issued, it will be paid back through the general fund.
General fund, not through the sewer fund?
No. Well, through the general fund. The only long-term debt that is paid out through the sewer fund is a portion of the clean water fund loans that were used to upgrade the 2 wastewater treatment plants.
And why is that? Why is it not paid back through the sewer fund?
That's historically the way it's been done. The sewer bonding, as well as the public improvements bonding, principal and interest is paid through the general fund, as well as the bond and principal payments on the school debt. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I would make an educated guess that it would have to do with perhaps the state statutes related to the issuance of municipal debt.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Shaw.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, the ordinance committee meeting earlier this evening forwarded for the consideration of the Board of Aldermen the following. I'm doing this again in the form of a motion. An ordinance appropriating $10,390,000 for various school improvements and authorizing the issuance of $10,390,000 bonds of the city to meet said appropriation and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, I do want to point out that our superintendent of schools, our Board of Education chairperson, and our school COO are here for more detailed analysis of these projects. But as an overall, about almost half of the $10+ million that's being requested this evening will be eligible for reimbursement through the state. So almost $5 million, somewhere between $4 and $5 million should be reimbursable to pay off the bans and the bonds that are issued. The only projects I believe that may not be eligible are project number 5, the Meadowside traffic flow safety improvements, and the Harborside West Shore Middle School intercom clock upgrades. We're trying to make those projects eligible, but we have to connect them to security, which we may or may not be able to do. But again, the vast majority of these projects will be reimbursable at 50%. So if you have questions, again, we have some of our experts here this evening.
Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. In the various school improvement plans or projects, there are the roofs. And maybe I can address, Jim, if you can. Are roofs totally reimbursable? That would be my first question. The second question would be the fact that since there are schools that need new roofs that have been mentioned at one time or another as being possibly closed, and those schools were Harborside Middle School and Live Oaks Elementary School. I can't support the fact that we can't identify the closing of a school so that we have to go out for bonding that particular school for the roof or any repair that needs to be to that particular school. I think there should have been a plan coming to us as to school closings. I know you're going to be involved with redistricting. Since some of these elementary schools are in close proximity, it's going to be a heck of a job to get numbers equal to or to the point where it's going to be feasible to meet and match numbers within the district, meaning the fact that schools will be of a similar size. So I guess, and the other thing is there a priority list in as to the worst roofs that need to be done first, et cetera. So those are many questions, but the first is totally reimbursable.
The answer, Mr. Chairman, through you to Alderman Vitale, yes.
Okay.
School roofs are eligible for, when you say
50%,
full reimbursement.
50%,
right.
whatever the percentage is.
And right now, the reimbursement rate is 50.7%, but that can change on an annual basis.
Right. And then the other one is that do we have a priority list as to what schools are worse, what roofs are worse than the other?
They all need to be done. The elementary school roofs, now you realize that the money that's being requested is for the architectural and engineering. So this will be the design work to do the 8 elementary schools. And then also there's separate projects for West Shore and Harborside, which would also be roof projects.
And that leads into another question. Is it necessary to have design work on roofs?
Yes.
Because state mandates, or because, what would be the reason?
Because of the Bureau of School Facilities process. You need to have design, and those plans need to be scrutinized by the BSF and our local building officials.
So therefore, any school that was mentioned prior to tonight, or prior to Board of Education meeting, as to possibly being closed, could possibly be closed within the next year or so, and those projects would what, be postponed if those schools had been mentioned? Or is there going to be a priority list? I mean, I just can't support this if I don't know what schools and what the plans are.
Well, the Board of Education, as you know, has voted to, all of the schools will remain open.
Right.
All of the schools need roofs. And so it takes, as you know from being on the Permanent School Facilities Building Committee, it's a lengthy process. From the time the money is authorized to the time that you actually put it out to bid, to the time the work actually gets done. These roofs have been, they've been on the capital improvement list for a long time, and they need to be repaired. Right now, the Board of Education has voted all buildings will be open, and so the roofs need to be repaired.
It's a frivolous kind of situation too, because they could be closed in the next year or so. So, you know, goes the wind, goes the Board of Education as far as I'm concerned. But there should have been a definitive answer to what schools should have been closed. But that's beside the point. The issue is that all the schools need the roofs. They will be done. And even if they close, or earmarked to be closed within the next year or so.
No,
that's a rhetorical question,
right?
right? still can't support it.
Alderman Beer.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Pelli. We're talking about roofs. So this $825,000 line item here, this is just for design of the roofs?
Correct.
So I didn't do the math, but let's say $75,000 a roof for just designing, replacing what's already existing on the roof? Would this go to one engineering firm?
The project, if you approve the bonding and you approve the resolutions that go along with it, it will go to the Permanent School Facilities Building Committee. They will select an architect. The architect will design the roofs for each building individually.
Right.
And then eventually, if they're funded, if the actual construction work is funded in the future, the roofs will be done.
Now, I know we will bid out roofs. Do we bid out the design work as well? Or do we work with just one architect? Is there?
That's up to the Permanent School Facilities Building Committee. That'll be a discussion that I know they'll be having as soon as you approve these resolutions.
So we're spending almost $1 million and we're not even getting a roof fixed. It's just designing the roof.
Correct.
So next year, this time, hopefully we'll be talking about the cost of replacing the roofs.
Yes.
On the schools that.
And then by that time, we should have a very good idea of what the actual cost of the roofs will be.
Thank you.
Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you, Mr. Riccitelli. Mr. Riccitelli, so I'm assuming that the roofs are going to be redesigned to a higher standard?
Well, they'll be designed to the current standards, correct?
Okay. Not what's there now? So.
No. Everything has to be built to current building codes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Casey.
Oh, thank you. Through you to Mr. Riccitelli. Just looking at the high school hazardous material abatement, $2.1 million for asbestos and hazardous material at Jonathan Law and Warren High. If you can elaborate on that a little bit, if you can explain, is there a risk or a danger in concerning that issue, and how long, if so, how long it existed or has existed?
Sure. First of all, there is no health risk. Floor tiles that were put in prior to a certain date contain asbestos. In addition, ceiling tiles can contain asbestos and other hazardous materials. When we used to do just asbestos, and then we started doing lead dust, and we started doing PCBs also. But as long as they're contained, and as long as there's no airborne particles, there's no health risk. We, for many years in the district, have had as all districts do, a planned abatement schedule. And as monies become available, we do a certain amount of abatement. We have probably about a third of our schools are already 100% complete. The money that's included in this bond authorization will completely finish Foreign. And then law probably has about 60% of the way to go, so there may be an additional bond authorization for law. So it's ongoing. There's no health risk involved. And then over time, we will complete all of our schools and will be 100% hazardous material free.
Alderman German.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. And just to follow up to Alderman Casey's thing, so does this have to be done now? Because we're just looking at 10 million here, 8 million with the sewer, and then another 10 million at the, so we're looking at 30.
Does what needs to be done now?
This hazardous material.
Well,
I mean, there's no risk.
Everything that's on before you tonight has been on the Board of Ed's capital improvement plan for many years. We would like to continue to do a certain amount of asbestos and hazardous material abatement per year, so we keep that schedule rolling forward. Is there an immediate health risk today? No.
Alderman Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I support this request in its entirety. I was very happy to see that it included a number of projects that really do need the attention. First of all, West Shore. Certainly, West Shore is deserving of upgrades. Having visited Meadowside in recent months, I know that there's a need to reconfigure the parking area because it does put pedestrians at risk with the buses and the cars coming and going. And certainly security upgrades. Just one comment about roofs relative to what some of my colleagues have mentioned. We do have membranes on flat roofs, so my question would be, is the school system thinking about trusses or changing the configuration of roofs at some point?
The Permanent School Facilities Building Committee discussed that last month about whether to put truss or whether to do a flat roof with the pitch that's designed by the State Bureau of School Facilities, which I believe is 1/4 inch. They went up to a 1/2 inch, and I think they backed that back down to 1/4 inch. But it's really a question that they need to grapple with.
So it's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but the architect said there are very few school systems in the state that have gone that route because it's very, very costly.
Gotcha. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Stanford.
I'm very glad to see this ordinance being passed. However, one of my major concerns is West Shore. That building has needed a roof for maybe 15, 20 years. Every time it rains, several classes are flooded. I really don't think that we can wait to have the roofs looked at and then have them built. It's almost an emergency situation. And furthermore, Mr. Rocchitelli, you know that I respect you highly. However, when you say that there is no safety hazard for removing the asbestos, then why do we have to remove it?
Because over time it will continue to deteriorate and become a health hazard. If the tiles deteriorate, crack, and become airborne, then it becomes a hazard. But as they're encapsulated now, it's not a hazard.
You know, you know that I worked at Warren High School.
Sure.
That was 20 years ago. Abatement started 20 years ago. Hasn't been completed yet.
Correct.
My concern is, didn't a health hazard occur during these 20 years? And also, again, I need to tell you that West Shore Middle School needs to have the roof replaced. Not 2 years from now, but yesterday.
And if we had the money to do it yesterday, we would have.
Well, maybe in the last 20 years, some of the money could have been. That's another question.
Alderman Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you, and Mr. Rocchitelli. Do you have a list of what schools, I mean, it's kind of dovetailing on what Ms. Stanford said, but do you have a list of schools which have more of a need than other schools? Or are you just going to put it in for all the schools and do all the work at one time? I mean, I'm understanding what she's saying as well. Like, I was thinking that same thought. Isn't there some schools that just need it right now?
Well, West Shore is by far the school that needs the roof the quickest. All of the 8 elementary schools were all built. All of the roofs were put in at the same time, and then they were resurfaced at the same time. So all of those are, they've been past their life expectancy and out of warranty for about 5 years now. So all of the elementary schools would be on the same scale, West Shore being priority.
Alderman Fontana.
Mr. Chairman, through you and Mr. Rocchitelli. Going back to this asbestos abatement, I just can't see spending these millions of dollars on this. You said there's no health risk. It is encapsulated. The EPA says there's 2 types of ACM, and this fits in the safe category and very unlikely to cause harm. And in fact, there are studies out there that it causes more harm to actually remove it. And New York City schools admitted they made a mistake by financially and otherwise by removing the asbestos from all their schools. So we're going to look at other cities maybe and see what they've done and what their research is and save us millions of dollars.
Well, we have been doing a certain amount of asbestos abatement every single year for the past 15 to 20 years. The process of removing asbestos and other hazardous materials is strictly monitored. There are environmental engineering companies that strictly monitor, and it's all done when students, it's all done in negative air pressure. It's a defined process, so it's very safe to do it. It's done when students are not in the building. But this has been an ongoing process. It's not something that's new today that needs to be done. We're probably, if I had to put a percentage on, we're probably around 60% complete in the district. We need to keep that ball rolling.
And what's the total, again, the number of millions that it's costing, that they want funded now for this?
2 million.
2 million.
Is in the budget.
Any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Beer.
Mr. Chairman, so, the repairs at West Shore under the 1.6, it says in here renovation windows, roof. Now, so is this roof part of this 1.6 million?
The money that's in this bond authorization is for the architectural engineering and design work.
For the
actual construction.
Okay, so same as the elementaries that are in here. This
Correct.
is, okay. The 3.5 million at Harborside, that's for roof and windows. Is that for any work getting done, or is this?
That's the whole project.
So this has already been designed?
No.
Okay, this is design and build?
Correct.
For 3.5 million?
Correct.
And does that work need to be done immediately?
It does. I mean, it needs, the windows, there are 2 schools in our system that still have the foam insulated windows that was put in the late 70s, early 80s, back when energy efficiency was the thing, and these foam windows were put in, foam insulation. That technology is long gone. There are far more efficient windows that can be put in, and the West Shore and Harborside are the last 2 schools that have that. In addition, the roof is in similar condition to the elementary school roofs and needs to be completed.
If we were to design a roof to the cost of, say, $75,000 for an elementary school that possibly could be closed down the road, it would be a waste of $75,000, potentially, unless the building had no use. If we were to spend $3.5 million on a school that potentially could be closed, that would be kind of embarrassing. That's not going to happen, right?
You're not asking me a question that I can answer.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question.
Alderman Giannattasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you to Mr. Riccitelli. Mr. Riccitelli, I'm just really looking for some clarification. On the West Shore Middle School summary, it says alternations, renovations, and upgrade, $1,650,000. When you do an alteration or a renovation, potentially you might, I don't know, I'm asking the question, come across asbestos. So in that $1,650,000, in that $1,650,000, in this case, is the asbestos an unknown?
Well,
or is it identified?
The majority of West Shore has already been abated, so we don't believe that it's going to be a major cost of the project, but it may be a portion of the project.
Generally speaking, in any school, if you do a renovation or an alternate,
you can come across the new thing that the Environmental Protection Agency is raising awareness of is PCBs, particularly caulking around windows.
Right.
And so that's what probably, that's what could be costly.
The extra?
If PCBs are found. But that is the case with all construction projects now.
Would the 2 million that you're asking for cover potential PCB material if it was identified?
Again, the dollars that are in the bond authorization are for architectural and engineering only, not for construction.
Right, but for the asbestos abatement?
Yes.
Does that include PCBs?
Yes, it does. At foreign law, yes, it does.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to add something to the question about spending money for alterations on construction. When you're repairing something like a roof or adding something to your windows, you never, what I do to my customers, and I do a lot of it, it's never considered a waste of money if down the road they wind up selling their house, because the person interested in purchasing, or in this particular case, whatever we're going to be doing with that building, in the event down the road it does get sold, or we don't need it for a school anymore, the roof needs to be done. You can't let the building deteriorate. The first thing that happens when a roof needs repair and it's not repaired, it starts deteriorating from the top down. I mean, it's like it really needs to be done either way. Whether you shouldn't even be considering the fact that in the event I heard it said, a couple of people said that it might be, didn't want to waste money on it if it's going to be closed. If the building needs repair, it should be repaired. It's worth the investment, no matter what we're going to wind up doing with it. Is there any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Shaw.
Thank you, Chairman. The last ordinance that the Ordinance Committee is asking to forward to the full board for consideration, and this is in the motion as well. It is an ordinance appropriating $10,262,230 for various public improvements and authorizing the issuance of $10,262,230 bonds of the city to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. At this point, we will return to agenda item 8G. Alderman Vecchiarelli.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the resolution regarding Milford Board of Education concerning roof replacement project at Cathead Meadow Elementary School, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8H.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding the Milford Board of Education concerning roof replacement project at John F. Kennedy Elementary School, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8I.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding the Milford Board of Education concerning hazardous material abatement, tile replacement projects at Jonathan Law High School, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8J.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding the Milford Board of Education concerning roof replacement project at Live Oaks Elementary School, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Giannattasio.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. In light of our discussions here tonight and the mention by Alderman Vitale, this school's been identified for potentially, in the near future, I would say, possibly being closed if the Board of Ed acts on it. I think it might be best for me to vote against this only because, or leave it on the list for last rather than first, to recognize that it could be potentially closed, and I'd hate to see taxpayers' dollars be invested at this particular location if that may be the case. So I'm going to take the liberty of voting against this item. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Mayor.
On the ordinance to fund the projects, the board voted unanimously. All this motion does is allow the city of Milford to be reimbursed at a rate of approximately 50%, so that we can save taxpayers half of the cost of the project. That's all that this does. The board already voted to unanimously approve the funding. This just brings money back into the taxpayers' wallets. I would strongly suggest that we approve this reimbursement from the state. I can't imagine that we would vote to approve the projects and not ask for the reimbursement from the state.
Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, through the mayor. Does the original motion say we need to identify those buildings at this particular point in time?
Through the capital improvement plan, did, yes.
But we can, you know, I don't know where that supersedes the idea that we wouldn't get reimbursed. The fact is that if we go out to bonding and we do a project that's reimbursable, we're going to get reimbursed for it. We don't have to identify, do we, the individual school or roof?
All this does is allow, if this school is identified, that we can get reimbursed.
Well, why would we have to identify any school? Would be roofs in general, would it not be?
That would be the role or the prerogative of the Permanent Schools Building Committee, of which I know you're a member, in conjunction with the guidance of this board and the funding that has been allocated this evening.
So if there's money...
But this will just allow us to seek reimbursement. That's all that this resolution does.
So if there's bonding allocated, it comes to the permanent schools, and we say, well, we don't think this building needs a roof, whatever reason, then we can identify another building.
Actually, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chairman, through you, the Bureau of School Facilities requires every building that you're considering
be
turned over to a building committee. So this resolution turns it over to the Permanent School Facilities Building Committee. If you turn this down, this project would be in limbo, wouldn't go to the Permanent School Facilities Building Committee, and you would not be eligible for reimbursement on Live Oak School.
So if it came to us as a school, we could identify another school in its place?
No.
So either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it?
Correct.
That's how they look at it. You identify or not identify.
Correct.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr.
Alderman
Chairman.
Giannattasio.
Through you to Mr. Riccitelli, can you just rephrase that again as far as going to the building committee? I mean, let's just say that we voted against this. It wouldn't make it to the building committee.
Correct.
So the roof, that particular school roof project would not even be considered.
I suppose that's what you're saying, but you already voted to fund.
I understand that, but if
you want to get reimbursed for it.
Right, but if it doesn't go to the building committee, if we vote against it the way that it's presented right now, which is 8J in our agenda, it's not going to make it to the building committee, so it's never going to be considered to be done, so it's never going to have to be reimbursed. That's my point. I understand that we approved the funding, but everything before us is itemized. So if we feel as a board that it's not prudent to do that specific roof at this time, and it doesn't make it out of this board with a favorable recommendation, then it's never gonna make it to the building committee, so it's never gonna get done. Am I accurate?
That's for the board to decide. You already funded it. Now, I would think that you would want to get reimbursed for it.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, but if it never makes it to the building committee. You don't need the reimbursement. You don't need the reimbursement. So, with that being said, I feel comfortable with my vote.
Is there any more discussion before the vote? Yes, Alderman Beer.
I think I just want to try to clarify Alderman Giannatasio's position, if you don't mind. In hindsight, maybe a better way of doing it would have been reducing the $825,000 bond by the amount of a particular roof that we may or may not have been in favor of replacing. That ship has already sailed, so we can't go back and reduce the bond amount. So as a fix to that, if we were to vote against this, at this point, we would in effect be reducing that bond amount if our negative vote were to pass. Sorry to complicate this even further. If this were to pass for some reason, could we bond for less money, or that bond's going to happen no matter what? I guess this is a question for Peter maybe.
Mr. Chairman, through you to Alderman Beer, we only expend money that we actually use. So money is not actually put out to bond issue unless it is actually used. This board is just authorizing the use of those funds. We would not actually have to use those funds unless and until the permanent school committee move forward and also recommended this project to move forward.
Okay, so for just clarification to everybody involved, a negative vote on this particular 8J would be a reflection that we were voting against a particular roof being replaced. Just so everyone knows where the no vote may come from, if some were to vote no against it. Because I think we missed an opportunity on the bond allocation. Just to clarify.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I'm understanding what's Mr. Riccitelli was saying is, if we don't approve 8J, and let's say further down the line, the Board of Education decides that this school they're going to keep, this school and this roof is pretty bad, we will have then forfeited our opportunity to regain 50% of the work, the monies that we could receive back in grant. So while it's not up to us to see what schools they close or keep open, this is really just going to provide the opportunity for whatever schools they encompass to work on, get that 50% back, 50.7% or whatever it was that Mr. Riccitelli was stating. So I think it would be in the city's best interest to at least support this and not try to guess whether or not they're going to close that school or not in the future.
Correct.
We bond next year.
Any more discussion on the motion?
Do you want time already?
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8K.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the attached resolution regarding the Milford Board of Education concerning roof replacement project at Mathewson Elementary School 2015.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8L.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding Milford Board of Education concerning roof replacement project at Meadowside Elementary School at 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8M.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the attached resolution regarding the Milford Board of Education concerning roof replacement project at Orange Ave Elementary School, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, all opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm sorry. Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8N.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding the Milford Board of Education concerning roof replacement project at Orchards Hills Elementary School, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8O.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding the Milford Board of Education concerning the roof replacement project at Pumpkin Delight Elementary School, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Can you take a
Yes.
5-minute recess, please?
5-minute recess.
That's the next one? Yeah. You got it.
The aldermen please take their seats. Back from recess. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8P.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding the Milford Board of Education concerning renovations, additions, alterations, and code compliance projects at West Shore Middle School, 2015.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to maybe Mr. Richard Kelly. Is it still pertinent in this motion to have additions since Harborside is not being closed? And I thought that was contingent on closing Harborside that they would add those rooms.
This project, the original project, does not include a classroom addition,
Right.
but it does include a dedicated art and music addition.
So that's the art and music.
Correct.
Thank you.
Alderman Giannattasio.
Mr. Chairman, through you to Mr. Riccitelli. So, sorry, Mr. Riccitelli. So this actually brings West Shore up to parity with East Shore?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8Q.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the resolution regarding Milford Board of Education concerning hazardous material abatement tile replacement projects at Joseph A. Foreign High School, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8R.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding the Milford Board of Education concerning roof and window replacement project at Harborside Middle School.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Alderman Beer.
Yes. Through Mr. Chairman, maybe Peter, Mr. Todd, I'm not sure. If this were to be voted down for some reason and the project went forward, can we at a later date do this resolution and request reimbursement? Say we put this project, say we pause this project, you know, it's being funded, but it's not gonna go through for another 6 months, 9 months, a year, whatever it is. We bond it as we need it. Maybe we're looking at some options with this particular school and we don't wanna do this project right away. And for some reason, we don't approve this resolution for reimbursement. But we find that we need to do this project down the road. Can we at that time, 6 months from now, ask for reimbursement on this project?
We certainly can ask for reimbursement provided that expenditures have been incurred and paid by the city. But I believe there is a sequence of events that the state requires, one of them being that this resolution be in place in order to apply for the reimbursement.
In another, Mr. Chairman, through you, another consequence of this is that we want to make sure that we lock in the reimbursement rates before it goes down. As you recall, up until last year, our reimbursement rate was at 55%. It has gone down now to a little over 50%. Again, the formula changes at the state, but 50% is a relatively favorable rate given our long, at least the last 20-year history, where for the majority of that period of time, it was significantly under 50%. So we are on the decline at this point. We want to make sure that it doesn't continue to decline, that we get this project done if we are going to do it, and have the favorable 50% reimbursement from the state, so it only costs the taxpayers 50 cents on the dollar as opposed to 60 cents or 70 cents.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if I may just clarify my position in a statement, I guess, would be beneficial. I will vote in favor of this resolution so that we don't ever possibly lose the opportunity to get reimbursed. But with that being said, I would like to just make a statement to the Board of Education that we use prudence when we're putting this project out, and if we can somehow get a plan in place prior to spending $3.5 million on a renovation that may not be needed. So obviously we've already approved the money to be spent on this particular project, but hopefully we can, you know, use some good guidance as far as whether it needs to be done right away now or if we wait and see what we're going to do with this building. And, you know, I agree with what Phil was saying. You need a roof on a building, otherwise you're going to lose whatever value you have to your asset. And, you know, the cost of repairing an asset that gets ruined is much more expensive than just putting a roof on it. I understand that. But, you know, maybe we look at the window option or spend this $3.5 million wisely. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Beer. Any more discussion on the motion? Alderman Giannatasio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. I'd also like to make a comment to dovetail off what Alderman Beer said. We're not trying to be difficult here. I came out of long-range planning. I was on the committee. We had a plan that was in place. It would make it a lot easier for us to vote on these things, you know, because since that committee dissolved, there's been talk about closing potentially Harborside, and it makes it very difficult for us as aldermen to vote on all these improvements that are before us, knowing that that possibility is in the near future. And, you know, we take that into consideration, and, you know, that's our job here. So we're just trying to do our job as best as we could based on the information that we have at hand, and there is no plan. So that's a problem, and it creates a problem on many different levels, and I'd just like to share that with the members of the board. Thank you.
Mr. Beeson, could I comment on that? May I? No? No. Okay.
Alderman Vitale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. I too am very concerned because Harborside was, again, mentioned as a school that was going to be closed, and there has to be definitive plans before it comes to us to know where we are and where we're going so that we can make some really good decisions and do our due diligence. I'm just concerned because of the inconsistency of what we hear. We're going to close a school, not going to close a school, going to close Harborside, we're going to do this, whatever it may be. And, you know, to spend the money on these particular projects at this particular point in time is not good for the taxpayers or for the city and for making decisions. If this was to be voted down, there's always another year to bond. There's always another year to go going. The school has been like this for a while. It's not, I don't think, I was at Harborside, and I don't think, you know, that was a few years ago, but the fact remains I don't think it's crucial at this particular point in time. But I think we need a plan. We need to be given information that we can really bite into and make some good decisions. And so for these reasons, I will vote for it because I think it's necessary, because down the road, who knows what's going to happen. But the fact is I'm voting with very much concern. Thank you.
Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli. Agenda item 8S.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the resolution regarding a cash advance for various school improvements, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Anderson?
Yes.
Alderman Beer?
Yes.
Alderman Casey?
Yes.
Alderman Fontana?
No.
Alderman Gurman?
Yes.
Alderman Gennatasio?
Yes.
Alderman Golden?
Yes.
Alderman Hardeman?
Yes.
Alderman Shaw?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Kubek, I apologize.
Yes.
Alderman Stanford?
Yes.
Alderman Vecchiarelli?
Yes.
Alderman Vitro?
Yes.
Alderman Vitale?
Yes.
13-1, excuse me, 13-1, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. 13-1, item passes. 13-1. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8T.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding a cash advance for various public improvements, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8U.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding a cash advance for the design and construction of sanitary sewers, 2015.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8V.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding special reserve account kickoff to summer.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Anderson.
Through you, I wondered if the mayor could just put on the record what the kickoff to summer is.
Mr. Chairman, through you, during our 375th celebration last year, the 375th committee put on a event to cap off Celebration Week. It fell on, I think, Father's Day weekend, around the start of summer, and there were fireworks, and everybody had very, very positive feedback as a result of that event. There was a lot of discussion that we should continue this tradition beyond the 375th year to our 376th and beyond that. There has been discussions with some of the people who helped organize the event. Alderman Anderson, Alderman Kubek, and Alderman Vitale was a big part of the 375th committee. And We are looking to do this on an annual basis. This will help establish a fund so that we can seek private donations, do some fundraising with local businesses who want to contribute to a fireworks display and an annual celebration to kick off the summer. Dan Worrell really has helped spearhead this new initiative. It's something that I think that is going to be met with a lot of excitement, especially in the downtown area where we're looking to have the celebration kick off the summer in the downtown area, so that the fireworks, like they were last Father's Day weekend, will be up over the harbor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Alderman Gurman.
Do we, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do we have an actual date yet, or no?
Tentative date of June 20th, which is, I think, the first day of summer.
Is there any more discussion on the agenda item? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8W.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding for the State of Connecticut Local Capital Improvement Program Assistance Grant for improvements to the Parson Government Center conference rooms.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Alderman Gurman.
Can, through you, Mr. Chairman, can you just explain on that, or expand on that?
Sure. Agenda item 8W, 8X, and 8Y are all tied together. We are seeking a LoCIP funding. It's a state grant that we will receive as long as we apply for this and stay within a capped amount. We are looking to do some rehab work to our 3 conference rooms, Conference Room A, Conference Room B, Conference Room C. One of the reasons that we're looking to rehab it is because also as part of the 375th festivities, a contest was held for our school kids. The schools in the city got together and organized a Name That Conference Room contest. There were names submitted as to what those conference rooms should be here on in instead of A, B, and C. And I think at our next meeting, probably the March meeting, we'll have an announcement for you and let you know what the final selection was from the reviewing committee. So as part of the new upgrades on the names for the conference rooms, we're also doing some upgrades. They're very well utilized areas. They get a lot of people through them, and we're trying to make them look not so shabby. We're going to also, at least in one of the conference rooms through this state grant, put some technology enhancements. Specifically, we're looking to put a display board, a smart board, similar to the one that is in this room, in at least one of the 3 conference rooms, and use this state grant money to fund that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8X.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request to amend the Capital Improvement Plan 2015 to 2019 to add the attached project improvements to Parsons Government Center conference rooms.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8Y.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding a cash advance for the improvements to the Parsons Government Center conference rooms.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8Z.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding grant application for the Department of Human Services.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8AA.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding grant application for youth and family services activities.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8BB.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the attached resolution regarding the grant application for State Department of Social Services.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 8CC.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the request for the acceptance of the attached Emergency Watershed Protection Floodplain Easement Project and to authorize the open space manager, mayor, and city attorney to take all steps necessary, including signing all documents to effectuate said program.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. There is no new business. Agenda item 10 is moving on to budget memo transfers. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item number 10A.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consideration of budget memo transfers number 3 and 4, Fund 10, FY15.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to refunds. Alderman Vecchiarelli, agenda item 11.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consideration of refunds in the amount of $15,374.36.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Reports of standing committees. Are there any reports of standing committees? Is there any reports of special committees? Next item on our agenda is executive session. I will entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss 14A, discussion concerning sale of 204 Melville Street, Station 6. Joining us in executive session for items 14A through 14C will be the mayor, Ben Blake, and the city attorney, John Bertram. Is there a motion?
Just 14A.
Just 14A.
Just 14A.
Someone.
We staying here or going into?
Yeah, what we doing?
Why don't we just stay here and have
Why
a
don't we
discussion?
stay here and have that later?
Yeah.
Bye, Mary Rose.
But the camera's here. We can go into teaching the learning center.
I'm just
No, you
shutting it
turn off
off.
the camera.
Yeah.
We are out of executive session. Alderman Vecchiarelli, read the motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the bid of the Fire Engine Pizza Company regarding 204 Melba Street in accordance with the discussions in executive session and in accordance with the recommendations of the city attorney, and to allow the mayor, the city attorney, and the finance director to execute said documents and to sign anything that needs to be signed.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call vote, Madam Secretary.
I won't get a free pizza.
Alderman Anderson?
Yes.
Alderman Beer?
Yes.
Alderman Casey?
Yes.
You'll get one.
Alderman Fontana?
No.
Alderman Gurman?
No.
Alderman Gennatasio?
Yes.
Alderman Golden?
Yes.
Alderman Hardeman?
Yes.
Alderman Kubik?
Yes.
Alderman Shaw?
Yes.
Alderman Stanford?
Yes.
Alderman Veccarelli?
Yes.
Alderman Vitro?
Yes.
Alderman Vitale?
No.
11 yes, 3 no.
Vote was 11 yes, 3 no. Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good job, Nick.
You guys want to pass your,
Or just leave me out, collect them. I think you can take the picture of that.
You need them back?
Yep. You and Tony, Brian, can keep that covered.